Hello, Carlos. Welcome in DDDM FM podcast. Let's jump right into it. Can you share a specific project where data helped you solve the problem, and what was the main goal you were trying to achieve?
Okay, so one of the main projects now, the project that I'm currently working on at Covalo. So we are a platform for customer ingredient for the customer and cosmetic industry.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the problems that we faced when we created Covalo and we grew is that data is dispersed. So the market is fragmented. It's a bit of an analog industry yet,
Mm-hmm.
and as this was one of the main problems that we're trying to solve, because then sourcing ingredients, so for formulators and basically the industry brands that want to formulate new cosmetics, they have these
Mm-hmm.
difficulties because they have to source a lot of ingredients, they have to collect a lot of data from different suppliers, and because the market is fragmented, this causes a lot of inefficiencies and inflexibilities on how to collect and how solve the problems.
Mm-hmm. And how did you identify this problem? It was something which your clients come to you with, or this is something you discovered by yourself?
So the problem was at least discovered, identified by the two of the founders. So they were working
Mm-hmm.
for a supplier of chemical ingredients, and at the
Mm-hmm.
time they were facing this problem, right? So it was their own problem. So it was created like an R&D project to start looking for what could be the solutions to tackle this problem, and then that's basically more or less the history of Covalo. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, they were the ones facing and leading with the problem
Mm-hmm.
directly.
And what was the goal you are trying to achieve or are achieving by your solution?
So currently, we are connecting the brands and suppliers for this industry,
Mm-hmm.
and so that they can collaborate and build products faster to market. And so we
Mm-hmm.
are collecting data from the supplier side. We are enabling this
Okay.
data, customizing it, and make it available for the brands to connect. So like a marketplace in a sense.
Okay. And okay, so walk us through like what was the key steps you took to solve this problem using data? Like what was your approach and approach of your funders?
So the approach was really okay. How we can enable this connection between the suppliers and the brand. So in a marketplace is always a chicken and egg problem, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
need to start collecting data, and but because they were one of the main actors that were having the problem, so it was easy
Mm-hmm.
for them to use this data, and then they
Mm-hmm.
started to bring their own brands that were working with them to the platform, and they start to grow naturally. So after this step, they were able to go to other suppliers and say, "Hey, we have this platform. Do you want to onboard?" And so that's
Mm-hmm.
basically how it started growing. Like I would say, data bootstrapped.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and what is included in the platform? Like how the data pipelines look like how this is working.
So basically, the suppliers they want to have their data at Covalo, so that
Mm-hmm.
their brand that they are working on, they can look at their
Mm-hmm.
data, request samples. So we have like a lead generation for the suppliers, so that after
Mm-hmm.
populating the data, we can control in Covalo who has access to data, who is viewing at their products, who is making requests for their data, for their data sheets, for example. And so that
Mm-hmm.
we are basically generating leads for the suppliers. And we, so this is basically the marketplace, but now we discovered also other products for suppliers that they want their own safe space, because they also have competitors at Covalo, right? So they don't
Mm-hmm.
want their competitors to look at their data. So we have
Mm-hmm.
to manage this with availability, access management, and we're now providing a side product so that the suppliers can have their own safe space with their own design, so that their customers feel they like interacting in a safe space. And
Mm-hmm.
we're now also looking for the brands part, that when they have their own data. So imagine that the supplier has a standard product with standard
Mm-hmm.
attributes, but the brand, they also want to maintain their own layer on top of these standard attributes. So we're now building this safe space for also for the brands to keep their data on top of existing products that suppliers are having. So this is basically like a triangle now with the marketplace, and then for
Hmm.
suppliers and for brands.
Okay, and like how the team working on this project was structured? Like, what were the people involved in this project?
So initially, were the founders. So there was no tech team because this was an R&D project inside of one of
Hmm.
this manufacturer of ingredients, and so this was an outsource. And then we faced an issue at the time, right? So because, like I said, other suppliers didn't want to buy in a platform that was managed by their own by a
Hmm.
competitor. So that's when at the time the project had to spin off from the that supplier, and so that's when Covalo was born as a brand. So before it was called Camberry. So that was when we spinned off, and we were able, okay, to have a value added to the market to all the suppliers. So this was the first step, and then when we got the first funding, that's when the tech team was started to be set it up. Marketing,
Hmm.
because we have a lot of also marketing and all the product structure also.
Hmm. And while working on this project, like, what were the biggest obstacle you faced? Like, were there any issues with data availability, or perhaps maybe some kind of technical challenges you have to overcome?
So the first project was really lowering the barriers for the customers to get in, because like
Hmm.
I said initially, the market was is yet still a bit fragmented, and it's still an analog industry, and so we
Hmm.
had to attract customers to onboard in this digital experience, right? So this was the first challenge: how we can lower the barriers for these customers to try to digitalize their process and start
Hmm.
using digital platforms. And the second problem was really understanding their needs, right? So when they have this adoption, the cost and the effort to adopt a new platform should be perceived as a more valid than existing solution, right? So this was really
Hmm.
the initial problems to tackle and to onboard these new clients.
Hmm. And what would you do differently if you were, to start this project again? Like, having this knowledge right now, what would happen in different way?
Well, probably we would look at the AI trend before, right, in advance. So
Hmm.
no one would guess that, especially LLMs and machine learning would like a breakthrough from suddenly from a couple of months. So probably this would be like one factor to look at. And I think at the point we were also a bit of lucky because the project did really speed it up with COVID, right? So with COVID
Hmm.
and with this all this remote and companies had to digitalize by force. So this was really also a speed up of our process to start onboarding new customers. So in a sense, we were also on the right time with the right tool.
Hmm. Nice. And like, what specific tools, platforms, or some proprietary solutions were essential in helping you, gather, process, and analyze the data for your project?
So at the time, we were basically developing the platform to connect. So I would say databases. So it was
Hmm.
essential to store the data, and we also used some crawler technology. So
Hmm.
since our this is a very manual process, we tend to also help the customers to accelerate and automatize a bit of the process. So we use some crawler technologies to
Hmm.
crawl their sites, getting the documents and all their data and structure them inside Covalo. So this was basically the two tools that we used to speed
Hmm.
up, of course, a software developer, so that we can build a nice interface and
Hmm.
very close to their needs. And now we are looking now more on machine learning. You will ask me more about it in the next questions.
Yeah, I was actually wondering, like, how did you ensure data quality through the process, or this is like something you are using machine learning right now, or this is something which is happening in the different way inside your solution?
Yeah, so data quality is really something that we need to look at. So we need to ensure that the data that we display on our platform is properly labeled, properly categorized. So this is
Mm-hmm.
an ongoing process. And in the beginning, this was mainly done by ourselves or with customers. But now
Mm-hmm.
we are looking at tools, specifically machine learning, on how to automate it, right? So we have
Mm-hmm.
like the completion ratio. So the more information customers update their products and their information, the more leads they will get. So we try to also send them these insights, so that
Mm-hmm.
the more they update their products, the more data completion they have, the more leads and more people looking at the products they will have. So this is something we also need to provide with content to our customers. And now, more recently, we're looking at how with machine learning we can automate and really engage into this process of the data
Mm-hmm.
quality.
Mm-hmm. And were there any tools you started with, but you had to abandon, like for whatever reason during the process of creation or your solution?
For tools, so we are still looking for the best tool to do analytics
Mm-hmm.
internal into our customers, because the analytics part, because this is part of how we can provide our value to a customer, is sometimes is tricky because we can have like standard analytics, and this can be achieved with standard tools, right? So we have standard
Mm-hmm.
reports, but at a certain point we need to also balance between how much we customize the reports for the customers. And because with flexibility then comes also complexity and technical implementation. So this is something we are still looking for, what is the best tool to do what.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we get the diverge requirements, because sometimes it's simple, we have basic reporting, but when you want to do very customized reporting, then the type of tools are different, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, and looking at the bigger picture, like you mentioned, machine learning, and we talk a little bit about AI. Like, what do you see in upcoming years on the horizon? Maybe you are excited about something, or even starting to experiment with something in particular, and you want to share with us.
So I think the innovation speed will be increased. So the way machine learning and some of the techniques of machine learning are really now applied, and this was really exponential at this point. I think we are on the verge of an exponential curve, and this is now basically applying technology that already exists, is already proved that it works, and now that's when innovation will come, right? So when you apply
Mm-hmm.
this technology and you can really speed up a lot of process. So I think we will be dazzled in the next months, in the next years, how these machine learning and new capabilities will really solve problems. And this will be very complementary to our activity all over the place. So this will be
Mm-hmm.
like the new digitalization, I would say.
Mhm. Nice. And on the practical level, like, do you using AI in some way in your day-to-day work, which makes your work faster or better or both?
Yeah, so here I would split into, one is the part of our work to increase and the number of features and the automation in our platform. So we have a partnership with the Swiss Data Center Research in
Mm-hmm.
Switzerland. So one of the biggest machine learning and data science institutes in Europe, and we are working with them in a project to enhance AI capabilities on our platform. So this will be more on the product side. On the day to day, I use a lot of ChatGPT, for example, where I can summarize certain documents, creating follow ups. Even for coding, for example, we're now using some Python in some of the data processing, and I use it a lot, ChatGPT, to speed up the development. And we now on the urge to also evangelize our developers to look at this not as a competitor, because sometimes
Mm-hmm.
they will feel threat, or they will
Yeah.
not say that they will use it, but as more as a complementary, and how they can speed up and be more efficient with their work, right?
Mm-hmm. And what surprised you maybe the most about working with AI? Like, do you have some kind of a moment that you were surprised by AI?
Yeah, I think that when you think of the LLM technology and the
Mm-hmm.
way it was built, it is really surprising how you can use these LLMs and get really results on areas that initially you would not suspect that it would give a good result, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
LLMs is really understanding the sequence of words. Basically, very basically, this is it. But then at a large scale, it's incredible of how problems it could solve just by looking at the sequence of words and what words are better in front of another. So that really surprised me. I look as a
Mm-hmm.
technologist, understanding a bit how it works, and then see the results, and then combining. I think where we will see also a lot of development when you will combine a lot of these machine learning algorithms, machine learning techniques, combine them together to get better results. Because nowadays with ChatGPT and also other platforms, we can see they are now combining LLMs with vision, and they put it on a box and you only see the result. And that's really when I see we will see a lot of breakthrough in the coming years.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And finally, like based on your experience, what advice would you give someone who just is starting to looking to leverage data more efficiently in their business projects? Like, what is like one tip or maybe a few tips you'd like to share with this person?
So the first tip, it's try it. Maybe you have a good idea, but that idea is not becoming anything if you don't try to solve it. So the first advice, gets your hands dirty and start experimenting it, right? And the second advice will be, do not try to reinvent the wheel. So that the industry is already speeding up so dramatically that you should not lose time reinventing the wheel. So if someone already invented, try to use it, try to reuse it, try to understand how people solved other problems. So this is also something I use also in my career sometimes to get advice with people that already maybe have already faced similar problems as you did, and if you can really cooperate, then you might be much more quicker in solving these issues.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. And if someone want to reach out to you, like, what is the best way to do this? Like, where someone can find you?
Okay, I think the best will be on LinkedIn. If you search for my name, so it's not a usual name, Carlos Palminha, you will find me on LinkedIn. Then you can just approach me and we can have a talk.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of DDM, DDFM podcast, and answering all my questions today and your great insights.
Thank you, Lucas, and all the best for your podcast.
Thank you.